Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be. Thank you for tuning back into our podcast. We are Three Best Ways Podcasts. I am your host. I'm Shon Tillman of True Digital Marketing. You can follow me online on Twitter at Shon, SHON_Tillman. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I just moved in and got comfortable there. So I hope that you enjoy the content that I produce and the things that we got coming forward. I am here with my Wonder Twins, my superstars, my favorite people in the podcasting world. And I want to start by passing it off to Katrina Keys.
Hello, my name is Katrina Keys, and I own C&D HR Consulting and NIA 5.0. You can find me on LinkedIn at Katrina Keys, or you can go to my landing page, katrinakeys.com. Demetri?
Hello, everybody. I'm Demetri Chambers. I am a business attorney. I've been practicing business law for 28 years, serving small to mid-sized businesses with all types of business matters and commercial litigation. And we are happy to have with us today a friend of mine in the name of Adina Collins. Adina, we met somewhere on LinkedIn and started a conversation. What intrigued me about Adina is that she does not mind dealing with attorneys. Adina will tell you more about herself in a minute, but she does marketing and financial services for the general market, but in particular for attorneys. And so what thrilled me is I asked her, I said, so why do you want to deal with lawyers? And I explained to her why lawyers are hard to deal with. We tend to be busy and we tend not to have much time for people, those kind of things. And what she told me put her in a separate category. Adina told me that she actually learns the state bar rules so that when she's advising attorneys on, especially for marketing, that she can advise them in the context of state bar rules. I haven't met any marketers that said that they go that far for attorneys. And one of the big concerns for attorneys is that we are in a highly regulated area where the state bar watches what we do and governs how we can advertise. So when I met her, someone who has a unique interest in helping lawyers to stay in compliance, I connected with her really quickly. So Adina, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Sure. Thank you all so much for having me today. I really appreciate it. Again, my name is Adina Collins. I am the CEO of Fortitude Financial Consulting. I launched my business in 2018 and I am in the Metro Dallas area. So I have about 20 years combined experience in finance and accounting. And so one of the things that I ended up doing when I ended up launching my own business was trying to really look at some gaps where people usually were not trained on understanding the basics of business, where they can go to get specific resources to be able to help them understand what they're doing, how to walk out their business, how they can become more lean, how they can become more efficient, as well as become more profitable. So that's what I've been focusing on for the last 2 years. And so my business primarily offers 3 types of services. One is virtual CFO services. The second is tax planning services, where we actually help you to be able to identify ways that you can reduce your tax bill, your federal tax bill year round, as well as business coaching. And so business coaching is really a lot of what Demetri has been speaking about. So it's not just for attorneys, but I do also help other smaller to mid-sized businesses as well.
Okay. Why don't you describe for us your best work? How would you describe what you're doing when you're doing your best work?
I think for me, when I'm doing my best work is when I can see that people are having mental breakthroughs regarding being able to understand something that may have been complex, because I understand that everybody may not necessarily be a numbers person, and that's fine. But for them to be able to understand where they fit, how they contribute, and for them to be able to understand, I guess, really in layman's terms, that, they understand this is not anything that they, was just so hard. Sometimes people have preconceived notions that, oh my goodness, if you put, a financial statement in front of me, or you put other financial terms in front of me, I just kind of blank out, and I'm just not interested. But when I can see people that are actually being able to understand where they are, and also too, they can understand better what they can do, that they feel empowered to be able to make good decisions that can help them to be able to meet their current needs, but also to be able to understand what they're going to need to do to put themselves in the best position going forward to be able to expand their business. So that's what I would say.
Okay. Shon?
Thank you. Expanding your business, man, it's something that we all want to do. Well, I won't say all. It's something that most of us want to do, but really don't know how. And then once we start to learn how, I start to call expansion growing pains, because they hurt. They hurt because I have to do things that I typically don't want to do, because I've been doing it this long, and it got me this far. Why do I have to do it your way? Is that typically, some of the things that you face when you're taking on a new client for business coaching?
Absolutely. I think that especially if you were the one that grew the business, or you may have been one that was brought in and you were trained by your predecessor on how to do things, sometimes it's just a little bit of resistance. And one of the things that I always emphasize is that we used to have a joke in college: there's the right way, there's the wrong way, and then there's the university way. And so the thing is that I'm not coming in and telling you, hey, this is the wrong way for you to be able to do it. This was one method, and if you would like to stay where you are, that's no problem. But if you would like to be able to do something different, sorry about that. I apologize. I thought that I had my phone on mute. No, I was just saying that for people who want to be able to get a different result and they want to be able to expand, they have to be willing to try something different. I'm not telling you that what you're currently doing is necessarily wrong, but if you want to stay stagnant, that choice is indeed yours. However, I'm just presenting another option for your consideration. This is something that can help to expand you professionally. This is something that will also help you to distinguish yourself, because one thing that we know is that because of COVID, we've all had to change. And so remaining the same really is not necessarily the best option, although you can tweak some of the things that you've done that are going very well, but also too, you don't want to miss any opportunities by refusing to make any changes, whether they're small or larger.
That's good. So one of the big things we find out a lot of times when we go down a journey is people have a common misconception about what we do and why we do what we do. So what are some of the misconceptions you've had about what you do?
I think that especially when people find out that I have an accounting or finance background, they're like, oh, she's the gotcha police. She's going to tell me everything that I'm not doing right. She's going to tell me that, I'm failing, I'm not doing enough. I think also too, sometimes people feel like when they're opening themselves up to be able to receive advice, that some way, somehow that makes them appear weak. And that's not the case at all. The thing is that all of us need help. I need help. We all need help. And the thing is that we only get better as we allow ourselves to be open and to find a safe, confidential space where you can come to someone and say, well, hey, listen, this is what I was thinking of. I've tried these different particular things, maybe, can I be really a sounding board for you? And based upon what you've been able to see, is this something that would benefit me or my company going forward? So.
That's great. Awesome. Demetri.
Okay. What would you say is your next level of growth?
I would say for me, I am definitely expanding my professional development, and so I'm definitely going ahead and I'm studying to be able to add insurance also to my belt, because I know that is something that a lot of business owners end up kind of neglecting. That is something individuals as well as business owners end up neglecting. The other thing that I would love to be able to do is I would love to be able to hire maybe 1 or 2 additional coaches that can work with me, that would be able to help, at least in reference to onboarding and making sure that people have had what they needed, because I do definitely see that there's going to be a tremendous opportunity for expansion going into 2021. And so it would be great for me to be able to build upon my team, not just have someone who's contracting with me, but certainly be able to have someone who's on the roster.
Awesome.
So Demetri had mentioned earlier about you working with your clients and helping them to market. You had mentioned earlier about when you're working with your clients, making sure that they fit into the right opportunities. But from a marketing standpoint, how do you help them to stand out?
Well, one of the things that I think, especially when it comes down to attorneys, they think that it's just enough to be able to state, hey, this is my specialty, this is what we do. Or for those in other states that say that, hey, we can help you win over the big guy. That's not necessarily going to be what's going to draw someone in to you. And so a lot of times it's being able to show that, hey, I have the experience, I have the knowledge, I'm an authority, and then also too, I'm going to provide you with top-notch service. That's going to be one of the key things that's going to help any particular person to be able to stand out. So it's not just having the right presence or just having the right words, but are you going to be there on the follow-up? Are they actually going to have an opportunity to be able to speak directly with you or with the team member? And even when you do get them, are the people who have already paid you going to be left twisting in the wind because you've accepted the money, but you don't necessarily have either the capacity to be able to take them on because you may be overloaded, or you've kind of forgotten, hey, part of this, no matter what I'm doing, is going to be help me to stand out, is going to be on customer service all the time, because we know we like to do business with people that we like. We like to do business with people that we know and like, and how, especially in the attorney world, we know that a lot of your referrals are going to come from people that you've already worked with. And it's not necessarily just going to be based upon the information that you provided to them. It's going to be based upon the client experience that they've had with you. And so I think sometimes that ends up being kind of lost in reference to helping you to be able to stand out. So definitely being able to have those client testimonials, whether they're video or printed, but then also too, you have a track record of being able to show that, hey, I'm not only nurturing those who are coming in, but I'm making sure that I'm taking care of those who are already here. And I'm going to continue to do that.
That's awesome. So the next thing is, via your business, how are you able to impact lives? So you're doing a lot of things, you're giving a lot of guidance and coaching, but how do you feel your business is impacting the lives of people?
Well, one of the things that I like to do is I love to be able to volunteer and to make myself available for people, including for your podcast. But then also I've done a lot of Facebook and Instagram lives. I have the opportunity actually this coming Saturday to be able to speak. It's a women's entrepreneur mini summit. It's going to be virtual, and it's for women that are 45 and up. And so to be able to speak to them in reference to what they can do in their business, making sure that they are staying on track in reference to retaining their business value and making sure that they understand what they can do to be able to position themselves properly to be able to increase their finances, hopefully, if not in the fourth quarter of this year, then at least beginning in January. Another thing that I love to be able to do as well is be able to give business tax workshops. So that is one thing that I love to be able to help people with. Also, I just try to make myself available, whether it's through my church or through other community groups, to let them know that although entrepreneurship can be very challenging, it's not one of those things where you have to have every single I dotted and every T crossed. You can start where you are. And the thing is that, you don't necessarily have to grow large very quickly. It's actually probably better if you grow a little bit smaller. You retool, you refine along the way, and you can begin to expand as you do well. So those are some of the things that I try to do to make an impact.
Awesome.
Okay. What would you consider to be your greatest challenge at this point in your business?
I think that, of course, COVID has definitely been a huge challenge. One of the other services that I mentioned is dealing with tax. And of course, having a so-called regular tax season was not regular at all because, of course, we were contending with not being able to necessarily meet in person, having to be quarantined. I think also, too, that their attention span, quite honestly, has just been very, very short because they're having to contend with several things at home, having to make sure the kids are taken care of, especially if they're homeschooling or doing the virtual model of education. I think also, too, that people are just really in survival mode. And so sometimes it can be a little difficult to be able to reach people where they are. But, just trying to, again, make myself available, letting people know that, hey, even if you would like to be able to meet for a 20-minute virtual coffee chat, someone is here, someone is interested, someone who actually cares about you and going forward with your business, whether or not you become my client or not. That is, just one of the ways that I've tried to overcome that particular type of challenge.
Let me throw this one at you. I get it that you work with established businesses, but if somebody was looking to start one, what would be the advice you would give them today to get started?
Well, actually, my heart is with startups, and I have taken on a couple of startup clients. Cool. I would definitely say, please don't feel like you have to be the Lone Ranger. You are not going to be successful if you stay within a cocoon. You have to be able to grow your network. And I don't necessarily mean that you're growing your network just solely for being able to add on clients. We need people that can be a resource to us in a variety of different areas. Again, Katrina, with you being in HR, Shon, with you being in marketing, and certainly with Demetri being in law, especially business law, you need to be able to have touch points with everybody else that does not necessarily offer what you offer. I think also, too, that you have to make sure that you have a thick skin. You will not be for every single person. And you have to understand that from a personal as well as a business standpoint. And so the thing is that as you begin to go ahead and network outside and be able to get with other people that are in different fields, you will probably get a really honest assessment of where you are. And then also, too, it's great to be able to appreciate someone else's perspective, because you can have something in mind and think that I'm reaching, someone, or this is definitely a solution that may be, valid to who I'm trying to, go after. And they could say, well, you know what, just taking a step back, if I was the consumer, I would probably want to know a little bit more about this. Or I would want you to be able to give me specific type of messaging, which will help me to want to be more interested in your brand and in what you're doing.
So, I'm extremely passionate about building relationships that last a lifetime. So I love what you just said, because it's not necessarily, I know I'm not for everybody, and it's okay. I'm perfectly okay with that. So one of the things that I always talk about is passion. So I'm extremely passionate about relationships and building them and establishing them. I always say I'm a farmer. I get all kinds of weird things on LinkedIn. People say, what do you plant? I'm like, okay. I'm not a traditional farmer. So I want to know a little bit more about your passion. Why do you do what you do? Because I can't do what you do. I have a very close friend that's an accountant and that does financials. That's just not for me, but you have to be extremely passionate to do it. So tell us a little more about that.
I think one of the reasons why I'm so passionate is I realized that even when I went through business school in New Orleans, there were certain elements of going through a business program that, believe it or not, you don't really learn until you've graduated. And that includes even just the entrepreneurial journey. No one really tells you, hey, there's so many different dimensions of business that you could go into, that a lot of times you end up kind of leaving some things on the table. And that's one of the discussions that Demetri and I have had, and one of the reasons why I'm so passionate, especially when it comes to attorneys. I happen to have 4 or 5 practicing attorneys in my own family. I'm also a Texas notary, so I do understand, some of the challenges that they do face. And I think that I'm just passionate because I hate for people to feel like they that they don't really have an available solution to them. And so the thing is that I know I can't solve everybody's problem, but I may be able to at least point you in the right direction, be able to provide some additional resources to you that can help you to be able to grow yourself, to be able to do more professional development, and just to make you more informed. And I think sometimes it can be really frustrating as a newer entrepreneur, because it's like, well, oh my goodness, this person's telling me this person's telling me that. Where do I even begin? And so sometimes people end up becoming stuck. It's almost kind of like I'm afraid to move. It's almost analysis, paralysis analysis. I'm like, wait, what do I do? And so I think I was just always passionate about becoming a resource, because when I first started my journey, again, I felt like I was getting information piecemeal. And it's almost kind of like, man, I wish I would have run into this person a couple of months ago before I decided to venture into either buying this particular service, going into this, or even joining a particular group that may not have necessarily been worth me investing the time. So.
Awesome.
Okay. My last question is, how would you describe the best fit for you in terms of clients?
I would say someone who is open, someone who is definitely teachable, trainable, coachable, and someone who is definitely willing to listen, that's not defensive. Because I'm not here to point the finger. I'm not here to, to put any blame. I'm just here to say, have you considered this? Have you thought about this? These are some particular trends that are happening within your industry. You may want to make note of that, because if you can get ahead of some of these trends, it may put you in the best position, that you can, to be able to move.
Okay.
Awesome.
So Demetri kind of took my question from me. I was going to ask, what is the best lead for you? And in this case, let me kind of dress it up a little different. How do you go about generating leads for yourself?
Well, one of the things, I'm definitely active on LinkedIn, and so I normally reach out to my particular target clients and begin going ahead and nurturing relationships with them. And then from that point, being able to understand where they are, and if they're open to being able to have an offline conversation with me, so I can definitely be able to assess where they are and determine whether or not we would actually be a good fit to be able to work with one another. I also am active as well on Facebook, as well as on Instagram. I'm not currently running any particular advertisements yet, but that is something that I will definitely be looking into in reference to digital marketing. I would say for me, some of the best leads would be smaller to mid-sized business owners who feel like their finances are out of control. They don't even know where to begin. They're not exactly sure what steps that they may need to take to be able to get a hold on where they are. And they also need help in reference to being able to map out, really, I guess, kind of from the 10,000 foot view on how they can go ahead and accomplish those 1 to 5 year financial goals, as well as be able to hopefully position themselves to be able to grow, whether it means staffing or even revenue. Certainly, definitely willing and able to be able to assist attorneys. Definitely looking forward to assisting not just attorneys, but even second year and third year law students. A lot of times, professional schools do a great job of training you just for that particular field, but they don't always equip you to be able to understand how you need to treat yourself as your own individual business, as well as if you are interested in going ahead and launching, whether it's a side business or you're interested in going ahead and creating your own firm, what specifically you need to do, what steps you need to be able to take, what type of mindset that you want to be able to have to make sure that you are properly positioned to be able to hit the ground running.
Well, before we let you go, you mentioned earlier about later on down the road doing workshops on truedigitalmarketing.com. We have an events page. Please shoot me an email or hook up with me on LinkedIn. I would love to put that on our calendar and help you spread the word about your workshops when you're ready to launch that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think that your interview with us has been great. I'm glad that I'm already hooked up with you on LinkedIn, and I'll be make sure to share any contacts that happen to come down the pike that I believe may be a good fit and a good lead for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
But one of the big things that I'm really big on is networking. So I was super stoked that you use LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is a great resource. My final thing would be, what other kind of ways are you networking and building your connections and your relationships outside of like LinkedIn and things like that?
I'm also a member of a local networking group. It's almost kind of like a business incubator here in my town in Frisco, which is about 20 miles north of Dallas. Also, I am making sure that I am letting people know that whom I'm connected with, if they are asking for specific information in reference to speakers, or if they want to be able to gain additional information on different business topics, and I'm making myself available. So just definitely trying to go ahead and initiate contact, letting them know, again, this isn't me asking for anything, but if you need something, let me offer, my services, my know-how to you. So.
Awesome.
So Adina, tell us how we can contact you. If a person wants to contact you, how would they do that?
Sure. Well, you can actually contact me through LinkedIn. It's Adina Collins and then comma MBA on LinkedIn. You can definitely reach out to me there. My website is fortitudefinc.com. So it's fortitudefinc.com. You can reach out to me there, and you can also email me if you like at contact@fortitudefinc.com. On my website, if you were interested in booking a consultation, you can go to the first page and just scroll down all the way to the bottom, and there's a calendar link right there. So.
Okay. And if you're interested in contacting me, you can reach me at dc@walkerchambers.com. Our business line is 832-925-8337. And you can find me on LinkedIn.
And I'm Katrina Keys on LinkedIn, Katrina Keys, Keys, no extra E, just 4 little letters. Or you can go to my landing page, katrinakeys.com.
And last but not least, I'm Shon. You can find me on LinkedIn at Shon, Shon Tillman, for true digital and other digital marketing needs, questions, advice. Advice is free. You can find us at www.truedigitalmktg.com. On that note, we will say thank you for your time. Thank you for hanging out with us. Adina, thank you so much for your presence and for your interview. You rocked it.
Thank
And
you.
we hope that you hit the next button to watch the next video. And if this is the last video, then stay tuned for the next video. Later.